Believe me, I get it. I promise I do. The one thing I don't get is this. Why in the hell are we sending billions of dollars to support Ukraine when they're not even in NATO? And in our own backyard here in America, all that money that we're sending over to Ukraine, we could be using that money to ease the financial burden on the American people. We need to ask ourselves a question: what the hell is going on? No, for real, we really truly need to have that conversation. Because it seems like America is so quick to go rush and be allegedly so-called benevolent with everybody else in the world but its own people. I mean, we got people in our own backyard starving. And hey, if you want to look at it, we have a war on poverty in this country. Not only a war on poverty, we have a war on corrupt politicians, the Biden administration. I mean, everything that the Joe Biden administration has touched, ever since he's been in office, from the day he stepped foot in office, has went from bad to worse. For real. And it ain't getting any better, and they don't see anything getting any better. Can you believe it that gas is up over $1.50 a gallon since he's been in office? The border, 18,000 plus people are flooding in every single day. We abandoned Americans over in Afghanistan. Inflation is the highest it has ever been in the history of mankind. He doesn't take responsibility for any damn thing that goes on under his watch. He's always putting forth the finger, pointing the finger, blame shifting. And Kamala Harris, incognito, and laughing about it everywhere she goes. Man, so, you know, we got a lot of so-called national holidays coming up here in the springtime. So how can you protect yourself? First of all, those holidays and those times you want to do all this traveling and all this other stuff, protest. Don't go nowhere. Stay at home. Why turn around and drive across the country and pay upwards of $5 to $6 a gallon of gas? Skype, Zoom, do something like that, but stay at home. See, the American people have not yet gotten it. They think that you have to be under the mercy and under the thumb of the government at every whim. Our problem is we're too divided. We can't ever get together in one solid protest. And if you do protest, think about this. Your protest is one day. You take 6, 7, 8 hours. You go scream, holler, and shout. Politicians just wait for that day to pass. Okay, now back to business as normal. Why? Because ain't nothing going to change. And they know it. And this peaceably protest stuff, I just don't get it. I don't get it. I guess the American Revolution, I guess they was peaceably protesting too. I guess the Boston Tea Party, they was peaceably protesting too. I get it. I guess when the British was over here trying to make sure that we stay up under their thumb, I guess the sentiment back then was we needed to peaceably protest. In other words, you know what I'm saying, right? Hey, protest without bloodshed don't change nothing. It don't change nothing. And that's just a fact. But I tell you, America, I keep telling you, if I said it once, I said it 1,000 times, America don't give a damn about you as the American people. How many times do I have to say it, and how many times do you have to continue to keep experiencing the tyranny that the government is placing and putting upon you, the oppression, day in and day out, food shortages. I mean, the supply chain is still broken like you just wouldn't know what. It's off the chain. Used car prices is more than new car prices. I mean, we can go on and on and on and on and on. So what do? Do like I do. Man, when you have to go somewhere, make sure you plan that trip so that when you do go somewhere, you take care of all those birds, those stones, 4 or 5 things at one time. Make sure you're wise about doing it. Take care of those 4 or 5 things at one time, and then be content. If you're going to be in a car, carpool from one place to the other. Do that. I mean, do whatever you can to ease the burden upon you. You know, this heavy taxation without representation, because we don't have any representation. This is the worst that America has ever been in the history of this country. The worst by far. We have an iconic buffoon for a president. The administration is just, when you look at these cats, you know that they don't know what the hell is going on. And I tell you, I don't know. But I know one thing. I'm going to go over there and check out Truth Network, I think is what it's called, to see how the Donald Trump platform is going. Because it's got to be a hell of a lot better than going on what's now. But I do know this. I know the Democrats, they can't do nothing about it because they made such a debacle and such a mess of things this year and the last year. And can you believe it? Under this pandemic right here, more people has died under Joe Biden and gotten sick under Joe Biden than they did under Donald Trump. In other words, this man is the opposite of the Midas touch. But you know, think about this for a second and think long and hard. All right? Do whatever you can do to make sure that you don't do any unnecessary spending. Don't go out there and help this country out by getting more credit and more debt. Don't do that. Don't do it. You can see that the stimulus checks done stopped and they ain't stimulated nothing. And we are over $30 trillion in debt. And most people say, well, it don't affect me. Yeah, it is. It's affecting everybody. You see those gas prices going up, and then you look at the price of oil per gallon right now. It's nonsensical. It literally don't make any sense whatsoever at all. And the oil companies are profiting billions of dollars. Billions and billions and billions of dollars at these high prices. And you know what? It seems like that the Democrats really, truly got it out for the American public. But you know what? Midterm elections is coming up. A sea of red is coming. A sea of red is coming. And I don't think that the Democrats is going to be able to recover from this for over 10 years. Think about their leadership. Think about the leadership of this country. Nancy Pelosi, Chucky Schumacher, Joe Biden, and Kamala Harris. We got to be better than that. I know we got to be a hell of a lot more competent and better than that. We got to be. But hey, when people say that there's two things they don't talk about, religion and politics, that's because they're stupid and ignorant and dumb on purpose, and they know nothing about neither, and they don't know how both of them is going to affect you. Religion, if you don't pick and choose the right one, and I'm talking about not just religion in general that has a title on it, I'm talking about knowing the creator of the universe. You don't get him, you don't get his salvation, you don't get it right, you're going to have hell to pay. And that's, you can ignore it all you want, you can act like he don't exist, it still doesn't change eternity. And then politics. Well, the reason why you want to know about politics, even if you choose not to vote, is so that you'll know how to chart your course, so you'll know what the hell is going on. You stay informed, and then guess what you can do from there? Then you can understand how to preserve generational wealth, because you know what the hell is going on, you know what moves to make, you know what investments to do, and you can preserve yourself. But people just ain't interested in stuff like that. People, this microwave generation, we live for the here and live for the now, and it's nonsense. It makes no sense. I don't care how much of an example I've been, and there's still quite a few people out there that, while yet not part of Straitway, there's probably a month that don't even go by, hardly ever a month that don't go by that somebody don't write me a note, or somebody is so generous and so thankful for the information that they receive from the Pastor Dowell channel that they actually send me offerings in the mail and tell me thank you. And I say to each and every last one of you, welcome. And for you brothers and sisters that send letters out of country, sometimes I can't even read your address on those letters. You need to make your address a little bit more legible. And because I try my best to send letters back to y'all, and I always get them returned back in the mail. And the reason why I get them returned back in the mail is because I assume if we're trying to write your address down, we can't make out what you're saying. They just send it back. So try to help us out on that front and that end, because we are definitely trying to do what we can to keep you informed. We are. All right, looks like I'm back in the saddle again. I done had a hiatus there for a little bit from videos and everything, because we've been having a lot of things going on in the ministry. We got the Feast of Weeks coming up here. I'm encouraged about everything that's going on, because I know we made the proper moves. Now, when was the last time that you went to the grocery store and you bought a bag of rice or a bag of corn or some beans, and you bought some canned goods? Because most of you don't know how to can with canning jars. So if you don't know how to do that, you better go get some canned goods. I'm telling you, I'm almost getting to the point where I'm getting even tired even saying this stuff. I really, truly am. But I think it's my job to put a defibrillator on your mind and keep you at the forefront of the cutting edge of what's going on. So I guess if I have to repeat it 1,000 times, I have to just do it 1,001 and 1,002 and 1,003, just to make sure that you don't let the information slip, and then don't forget. You just don't forget. I can only pray that the Most High grant all you understanding keep watching, keep tuning in, keep listening, because you can see that my cadence as a pastor is a hell of a lot different than the rest of them. The rest of them is not preparing. They think that everything is just going to continue to keep going on the way it was, and if you continue to keep functioning like the way they do, living in these population centers and not trying to live set apart, I mean, it's going to be chaos when the world without rule and law comes and you're stuck in them population centers. Your pastors and your elders, they're not going to be there to help you. No, they ain't, because they can't even help themselves. They're going to do like that Bishop Paul S. Morton did when Katrina came. He going to jump on his Learjet and fly up out of there, take off and head up north, leave the rest of the people there to drown and die, then come back like a maverick later on and say, we've been through a lot, y'all. Yep, the hireling flees. Yep, because he is a hireling and not a shepherd of the sheep.